I'm going to open up the section with this interesting slide. Okay, so you can see the TV, right? For the people at the back, I hope you can see the TV, right? Okay, so why do millions of people pay more for a canned bottled water with a fancy label when it's the same thing from tap water that's in your kitchen, that's in your house? This is a regular bottled water. In Nigeria today, you can get this one for 250 naira, right? So the other brand that was there, the name of the brand is called Liquid Death. How many of you have seen the brand, the wild social media? Just okay. For the people that haven't seen the brand, so Liquid Death is a brand that came into prominence about, I think, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I can't remember. But when they came into the market, they came in with something very interesting, something that a lot of people have not done before. Like, water is so commoditized that the people before them, they would think, why does it need to be treated specially? Like, there is nothing special about water, right? There is nothing special about water. But these guys, Liquid Death, they told us, there is nothing special about water, right? But we are going to make it special. Okay? While the regular bottled companies or bottled water companies were going in the line of, okay, this is water, okay, we'll just open our own water factory, we'll sell it in sachet, sell it in bottles, and call it a day. But these guys are actually reinventing the playbook and telling us that we can actually think, we can do better. We can do better with our business. I add that in my first slide to sort of set your mind on what it means to build a brand and the mindset that you need to have in your mind when you want to build your brand. There is nothing special in the world anymore. I think the only special thing that we have seen in recent times is ChatGPT. And the thing that ChatGPT is even built upon is not even special. It's just a large language model and a LLM that was just, bundled up together and was done nicely, right? So in the grand scheme of things, your product is no more special. Your business model, your business strategy, someone is doing it somewhere, right? But you know what is special? Your point of view. How you are packaging the business. The perception that you are infusing in the business that you want people to see about the business. Okay? And that is why I defined earlier when it comes to brand, and I said your brand is the sum total of the perception that people would have about your product, your services, or anything that you may be selling, right? I have another example, but I am going to just verbalize it. So you have your regular watch product or company, right? And then you have a Patek Philippe. I'm sorry, I'm mentioning a lot of international brand names, but I want to make sure that at least some people here know them. How many of you know Patek Philippe? Amazing. Why would people spend 25,000 to buy Patek Philippe and not a regular watch that costs $10? $10 in Nigeria is like 13,000 max, 15K. And $25,000, I don't even want to do the maths. But you get the difference. When you wear a Patek Philippe watch, you're not wearing a watch. You're wearing an identity. And Patek Philippe back then, what brought them into limelight was an advert that they ran back in the days. The message that came with the ad was, you're not wearing a Patek Philippe. Like, when you wear a Patek Philippe, you're only protecting the watch for the next generation. So ideally, what Patek Philippe is trying to tell their customers is that they are not actually the watch owners. They are merely protecting the watch for the next generation. And so when you see a price tag of 25,000, you are not thinking, you're not thinking, okay. You know that you are buying into the identity that a Patek Philippe represents. You're buying into the identity. You're buying into, in another way, you're also buying into the emotions that comes with wearing a Patek Philippe. I'm sure a handful of people can recognize when someone wears a Rolex watch, right? And when you see a Rolex watch, for example, I don't even know, I really do not know much about watches, but I'm sure a lot of people can pick on, wow, that is a very expensive watch. You can definitely pick, right? And someone that is wearing a Rolex watch, they are not wearing for it to say, what's the time? Why? Time is all everywhere. You can check your phone, you find the time, right? They are sending a message. Okay? And that is why in the US, some people will decide they will spend all of their life fortune to live in Beverly Hills than for them to live somewhere in New York. Right? Why? Because Beverly Hills, they send another message to people. It's just, I really don't know much about Lagos, but I'm sure if you hear, I live in Ikoyi, it's different from, you're not Kwaja, na in my flat day. It's way different, right? So, whenever people do something, or when they choose to buy into something, they are not necessarily buying, they're not necessarily buying it because it's cheap. Right? Fine. A lot of people make decisions based on cheap, based on expensive. But in the other way around, people are buying. They are buying the emotions. They are buying identity. They are buying the community that product inducts them into. I don't know if that makes sense. Have I done a bit in changing your mindset about, at least, I think I've tried to sort of like set the stage. So let's move on. As humans, we constantly engage in what I call signaling, whether consciously or unconsciously. And this is signaling. Signaling is, I am self-expressing to the world. When you, for example, when you take your bath, maybe you're invited to somewhere. For example, I was invited here. Why am I wearing a native and a really traditional shoe? The reason is because, fine, I do not want to look bougie. I don't want to look like a Gen Z. Say for the fact that I'm one of the earliest Gen Zs anyway. I don't want to look like a Gen Z. I want to look matured in a way. And so me being in this outfit is sending a message. When you see me, you're like, okay, this person is, okay, is matured, is this and that, right? I'm wearing a watch, I'm wearing this. If I'm wearing another thing entirely, like something bougie, a very big trouser, an oversized t-shirt, a glass on my face, you would think, okay. There's an impression that comes to mind, and that's why first impression is very powerful in brand and in real life. It's very powerful. So we engage in signaling, whether you like it or not. You are sending a message with everything you say, with everything you don't say, and with everything that you do. Your lack of action thereof in your brand is sending a message. When brands are hit with something negative, like a negative PR online on Twitter or something, and people are dragging them, okay? There are some brands that we know that they will just keep quiet, right? In wanting to manage the whole crisis thing, they will keep quiet. And from their quietness, sometimes it ends well, and sometimes it doesn't. We can all visualize this, right? And for some people, when crisis, when negative crisis hit them, they respond immediately. But the way they respond is just, this brand can do better now. Just one action can break their brand or make their brand, right? Okay. And so sometimes when I look at, I'm sorry, I'm going to digress a little bit. When I look at some people on TikTok, someone reviewed your stuff, and then you go annoyed, or in the comments people are saying something, and then in the heat of the moment you say something that you should not say. Trust me, fine, it's all vibes on socials, right? But that comment has deterred someone from buying from you. That's just the simple truth. Whether you're angry, whether, oh, this person actually pushed you to the wall, does not matter. What matters is what you've done. That action has signaled to someone else that, no, this person, may I just shift. May I shift? Let me go in another direction. Am I communicating, guys? Am I communicating? So let's move on. So we often gravitate towards people or things that aligns with our identity, and we move away from the ones that don't. I'm sorry, man. Are you an Apple fan? Are you an iPhone fan or an Android fan? Don't you like iPhone? Why don't you use them?
It's expensive.
Okay. Let me ask someone else. Are you, in your ideal state, right? Are you a Toyota or a Mercedes?
I'm a Mercedes.
Thank you for that honest answer. Okay. Sorry. What football fan are you?
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid. Why not Arsenal?
I don't do English football.
Why? Doesn't do English football. So now my ladies here. The fashion conscious one. What brands do you hate and what brands do you really, really like? Can I hear from you?
I don't know any.
You don't know any brand. Do you know any fashion brand? Okay. So, okay, let me ask my guy again. Are you Team Messi or Team Ronaldo?
Messi.
Why not Ronaldo?
I mean, I'm just loyal to Messi.
Okay. See, guys, I just painted you a picture of why identity is very important. Whether you're Team Messi, whether you're Team Ronaldo, I don't know. You can't stay in between. For one, I was a Ronaldo fan all my life. Like, I love that guy. But man, you can't deny Messi. You can't. See, anybody that says, let me just leave it. So, you are either here, not here. So, you need to choose a ground. And so, in psychology, people align with things that they can identify with, and things that they don't want to identify with, they gravitate away. And this thing is so, what's it called? It's so you sometimes you're not even consciously making the decision. You're just like, nah, it makes me. That's why sometimes you follow when in the music space, you are a Shake fan, you are not a Shili Vibes fan. Why? Or things like that, discourse like that. So when it comes to people, when it comes to their psychology and how they think, they align more with identity. I'm a pro Nike fan. Adidas, I like them, but to be honest, I really don't care that much. But I like Nike. Why? I just like Nike. Okay? So people who align with anything that aligns with their identity. And when it comes to identity, in psychology, there are so many personality styles. For example, we were taught that some people are neurotic. We were taught that some people are conscientious. We were taught that some people are, all of these personality styles. And a neurotic, someone that has what I call, I don't know if it's a bad blood or something. They are not as patient as the regular person, right? And their whole schedule, their whole life can be all around, right? Those kind of people will vibe more with people that they will vibe more with people who are also neurotic like them, right? And people who like their space. For example, let me use introvert and extrovert. Introverts, in fact, they are becoming a cult these days. They'll be like, introvert this, how to build your personal brand like an introvert, and this and that. Why? Because introvert, we like to talk to ourselves. You don't go out of your house, come. How are you doing this thing? How are you building that stuff? I'm an introvert too. That is how identity operates. And extroverts too, just like extrovert, like them, they also have their own community. Extrovert really don't like a core extrovert and a core introvert cannot operate. I don't know if you've seen those kind of people before. Somebody that is out there, somebody that's every time is outside, and somebody that just wants his peace. In fact, Netflix and just be in one corner of your bed, they don't mix. Okay, and so that's that about what I say about identity, and it ties back into branding because your brand needs to make a stance. It needs to make a stance. Who are you serving? What identity, what consumers, what target audience are you going to be serving? And in this target audience, what core emotion are you aligning with? Right? So that is very, very, very important. I'm just going to run through what these guys, so people that are pro Nike, people that are pro some of these brands, I'll run you through what they say in their groups, in their different communities about why they resonate more with the brands that they follow. So Nike, a Nike fan once said, as an athlete, I feel like Nike gets me. They understand my struggles and they encourage me to keep going despite the odds. See, Nike has done a great job, and I'm not going to say it in a way that Nike has done a great job when it comes to marketing, when it comes to telling a consistent story. Okay, and so you have Nike fans, people that are really passionate about Nike. You have them be at odds with other brands. Like someone passionate about Nike may not be able to use something that Adidas produced, even if the product is even better, like even the design is good. They just love Nike. They can't help it. So this is something that a Nike fan once said. This interesting brand here that I mentioned during my section, Red Bull. So a Red Bull fan once said, I am adventurous, outgoing, and I love being challenged. Red Bull aligns with who I am and gives me the energy to keeping on. I don't drink Red Bull, to be honest. But one thing that I love about Red Bull is they are so clear about who they want to sell to. If you're not someone that is adventurous, if you're not someone that loves to walk into a bank and break things, Red Bull is not talking to you. In fact, yeah, I dare say that they are not actually targeting introverts. They are targeting people who love to explore. They are targeting people who loves freedom. People want to do crazy things, and they are clear about that. And if you know Red Bull, you would know that no, this brand, they know what they are doing. They acquired, I think Red Bull has acquired like two football teams now. For people that watch football, RB like Leipzig and Salzburg. Insane stuff. They have a lot of competitions going on YouTube every year. In fact, I watch one really insane stuff. They built something like I don't know what the stuff is about, but they will ask people participating in the stuff to build. I don't know. It looks like all this airplane that flies on, all those airplane, all those light airplanes. They said they should build something so they will roll over a distance. That thing is very thin. Where the distance, the platform that they are rolling on is very thin, so it's easy for them to just fall. So it's by the water like this. They will ask their participants to roll, and the person that can go farthest will be the one to win the competition. Really insane stuff. And let me tell you something, that is so entertaining, right? It's so entertaining that it gets a lot of people watching. Even me that I cannot do that, I'll be like, nah, this is cool. This is really great. That shows you what when you know the people, when you know the identity of the people you are serving or targeting, it's easy for you to create things for them. It's easy for you to talk to them. It's easy for you to serve them with your products, your services, and whatnot. I wanted to ask, I think that was Joanne. Abeg is one product that I think I like so much that ended abruptly. We all know Abeg, right? Good. And this is something that someone said before, I think they got acquired or something. or they got rebranded. Let me see. It took something as dry as money transfer, and turned it into culture. It felt less like a fintech, and it felt more like a community banter. I do not know the inner workings of Piggyvest and how they killed Abeg, but one thing is sure: when Abeg came out, it was like, where is this product coming from? Like something like Abeg send me 2K. They turned Abeg send me 2K into a brand. Hey, do you get that? People that fall into this circle, into this category of always engaging in this act, they felt seen. They felt like, finally someone gets them. And they built a platform. They built a platform that made it easy for this thing of, beg and stuff. I don't want to put it in the exhibit, but they turned it into a product. They turned it into culture. That shows you how the listening to people, understanding the collective identity of a group, how it can help you to build your brand, or how you can even surface a new brand. Are you following, guys? So let's go into why the psychology behind why people choose. And this is I think this is one part that I'm really looking forward to. David Aker, who is someone that was David Aker is regarded as the modern father of branding, and in one of his books, he gave 3 interesting categories of benefits. Right? We are going to be talking about why people actually choose a brand, why they choose anything at all, product, service, anything. We're going to look at it now. As long as they are giving their money how to get that thing, we are going to talk about it now. Are you ready? The first one is functional benefits. What it does for them. That's the first layer. People choose your product because of what it does for them, the functional benefit, and you can see this in your features. Your product features, your service features, and the tangible features that people can get from your product. For example, a Toyota Corolla. Why do people buy Toyota Corolla in Nigeria? Fuel. That's the thing. They say it's fuel. To be honest, I own a Corolla and I don't think that car is fuel. It gulps normally. Normal. But anyway, that I digress. You buy Toyota because maybe are claimed, it doesn't consume as much fuel, right? It's a feature. It's something functional, right? It's a feature. Another example is you're selling a Techno, for example. If you notice, Techno in their adverts, Techno doesn't advertise like Apple. They name the big things about the phone. 152 megapixel, 10 gig RAM, 10,000 mAh battery. Why? Because for long, Techno has built a culture of always advertising, speaking to the functional benefits. They don't care about emotions. No, they believe that Nigerians, Africa, we want things big things. So that is functional benefit for you. And people buy based on function sometimes, right? But the thing is, a lot of brands only cater to function. Bro, another brand, we all know, we know those brands, those phone brands that are better than Techno with more features, right? Redmi swept them away with insane features, right? And sometimes I think that's the reason why they are not even as relevant as before anymore. And we can think of all these examples in different categories. Okay, so that's that for you. What it does for them. The customers too are looking for what it does for them. But the thing is, a lot of players, a lot of brands, a lot of companies are only basing their brand on function. Now to the next one. The next one is emotional benefits. How it makes them feel. How it makes them feel. if I use your brand, how is it making me feel internally, right? I don't know if you guys know Volvo. Volvo. Volvo has a reputation for prioritizing safety in their products, right? If you as a person, if one of your core motivation is safety, Volvo is probably the brand that you'll be going for. Such a person will not care whether the car has AC or it has, of course, cars so obviously. Such a person will not care whether the car has big boots or it has or is bougie. What is going to matter to you is safety, right? And if you notice, a lot of your insurance companies in Nigeria, they are also selling that attribute. They are selling that emotion, like, oh, come and safeguard your this health insurance, all of this insurance. It helps you. Why? Because in that category, you can't even sell function because insurance is even not the penetration in Nigeria is not yet grounded. So they need to sell the more emotional part of the brand, which is I think is safety to an extent and sort of like coverage, closure for when bad things happen. Bad things will happen. I mean, sure, but we'll give you the closure that you need so that you can bounce back. Okay, that's that for emotional benefit. People, when they consider functions, people also consider emotions, what it does for them. So as a brand, if you want to resonate deeper, if you want to grow stronger connections with your customers, don't think about, forget the features that your product has or that your e-commerce business, in this instance, forget all that you are selling. Sell, okay, if these people buy this brand, what do I want them to feel? Very, very important. And lastly, identity benefits. Identity benefit answers the question, what does this product say about me, about my identity? Okay? A great example of this is Patek Philippe. Most luxury brands are in this category. Luxury brand is not selling because they know that their product is expensive, bro. How are you going to justify a $25,000 watch? It only tells time. But what you can justify to me, which I'll believe, is if you tell me that, you know what, you are only the caretaker of this thing. You are not the owner. You give it to your next generation. That makes sense. So if I buy this watch, it will live 10 generations. It will live generations beyond me. And that is very important. And this ideology that Patek Philippe has influenced everything that they are doing, both internally and externally. Okay, now you know that if you're making a watch, it has to live like 10 generations. 10 generations is like 100 years. If I'm right? Generation is 10 years. 100 years, you are not going to be making an average watch. And that's why they invest a lot of time, a lot of effort into their watches, because they need to fulfill on that promise, which is you being a caretaker for that watch and you not necessarily being the owner, right? It's like you're buying a relic. You're just leasing it. Does that make sense, guys? So these are the three most important things that you need to know. You need to put into consideration with your branding, with your business, with anything you're putting out. Okay? Because I believe in one way or the other, we are selling something here, or is it that we are selling something or we are starting up something that involves business, doing business with other people. People are making these three decisions whenever they see you or whenever they need to exchange something of value for your products. They are thinking about the functional benefit, what it does for them. Okay? You need to identify that, right? You need to also infuse what it makes them feel. Communicate that in your content, in your packaging, in your design. Communicate it. Do you know that if you and a very deep hue of red it doesn't give the same feeling as a light hue of red. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense. The red that you have, like, sorry, I want to use an example. The red on your glasses, that kind of red is different from this kind of, I think this is pink or something, but the hues are different, and that tells you a lot about colors. Okay, so how it makes them feel can be seen across your assets. Like I said back then, I said your assets is your visual identity and all those stuff. You can find a way to infuse it into all of your materials, right? It should influence everything you do. The colors you use, the fonts you use, if you're selling, and that's why for example, and I'm going to digress a bit. I find some people that claim to be a luxury brand in Nigeria, I find it funny. Because tell me why you claim to be a luxury brand, buy something from you, but I'm getting a random Okada man to deliver my products. Like, doesn't it make sense? There's mismatch. There's something that I call incongruence. Your perception, it's not the same thing as the image, right? So, for example, like somebody that says, "Oh, we are a luxury brand on Instagram," and then you message them, and then they are acting in one way. They are being cheap. They are acting cheap. There is incongruence, and you don't want that for your brand. So you want to align perception, align it with your image. And lastly, what it says about them. You need to understand identities. Are you selling for the introverts? Are you selling for the extroverts? Are you selling for the people that want luxury? Or are you selling for the people that want cheap, affordable? There's that market. I said something on Twitter recently. It's like, there's nothing like affordable luxury, in my opinion. But I think I've read some things about that. But I feel like there's nothing like affordable luxury. A luxury is meant to be expensive. Affordable is meant to be affordable. Now, you trying to come in the middle and say, "Oh, you're doing affordable luxury," makes sense, right? But to be honest, I don't think it's a proper niche that has been grounded, or that is grounded in the global space. So if you're saying affordable luxury is still affordable, that's just what I mean. So you want to, like I said, you want to pick a side. Don't sit on the fence. Pick a side. Affordable market is still huge. Absolutely still huge. The people that sell what's it called? Cheap things, like the brands that serve that have all this affordable stuff, they still make something, right? Dangote knows what he saw when when he decided to go into salt making business. What's the margin? Tiny margin, but he knows that when 150 million people use it, it's going to amount to something, right? So don't think if you go into this certain category, you will not make your money. No. Think about this. There's this certain people, these certain identities exist. So I'll align it. Does that make sense, guys?